This one's gonna ruffle some feathers. Ciao friends, Monaco returns to the F1 calendar this year after a 1-year absence due to the pandemic. It also makes its full layout debut in Formula E, but that's something we will discuss later. I have been noticing a growing trend among F1 fans of Monaco skepticism, but I disagree. So I'm going to address the two main points that people bring up when talking about Monaco and why they think it is no longer fit for Formula 1. And this one is the easier of the 2 points to disagree with, quite frankly. It isn't unsafe. Monaco is quite tight and twisty and small, and therefore the F1 cars don't get up to huge speeds in most of the places. And most of the places they do have genuine runoff areas. Turn 1, Saint-Devoux, for example, or Mirabeau, up at the top of the hill. Both of these have significant runoff areas, and drivers that go off there are entirely safe most of the time. The only places that have had major accidents that have caused genuine safety issues for drivers over the last 10 or 15 years or so have been the Nouvelle Chicane, where Sergio Perez crashed in 2011, and maybe the outside of Turn 1 as well. But realistically, it is not that dangerous of a circuit. There have been far bigger crashes at circuits that are considered safer in F1 more recently. Monaco just isn't unsafe as an F1 circuit. And the other thing that keeps being brought up is that it shouldn't be worthy of Grade 1, which sort of leads me on to my second point. And the other thing is, people say it isn't worthy of Grade 1 certification, which is the FIA certification for Formula 1 level tracks. Which sort of leads me on to the second point I would like to refute. But firstly, I would like to ask you to consider subscribing down below if you like this kind of content and you would like to see more of it on this channel in the future. So the second point is slightly more controversial, I think. There are a lot of arguments these days about whether or not Monaco is capable of producing great racing. You know, the argument here is that you don't see very many overtakes, and that is apparently the definition of racing. So most notably 2017, but 2014 wasn't great either, and I have my doubts 2022 will fix anything. But to me, that seems like a problem not with Monaco, but with the cars. Because the Monaco Grand Prix has been running since 1929. It is one of the premier Grand Prix venues in the world. And Formula 1, as the pinnacle of Grand Prix racing, needs to make cars that run at Monaco, not the other way around. Monaco isn't broken, Formula 1 cars are. If they can't race at Monaco, that's not a problem with the circuit. The circuit's barely changed. It's the cars that have got wider, that can't overtake, that have problems with dirty air. If Indy cars weren't capable of running at Indianapolis, you have failed at building an Indy car. If you built a specification for endurance cars that couldn't run at Le Mans, you have failed at building endurance cars. The circuits that these series run at define the series themselves, not the other way around. Grand Prix racing is Monaco as much as it is Silverstone or Monza. F1 was not meant to be only run on purpose-built circuits. In fact, most of the circuits it runs on are built on previous existing roads, or often things like air bases. And F1 is in a bit of a tricky position with this. It has to balance being a forward-looking, innovative sport with the rich history that it has. Over 70 years now. And because it is relatively old, but not old enough so that it's out of living memory, we have the people around still who remember the first kinds of F1 cars and the circuits in which they ran. Monaco is considered the jewel of the crown of Formula 1. Because it is sparkling and shining and vaguely in the middle of the calendar. Monaco defines Formula 1. It is one of the most iconic races that they run. If you ditch Monaco because you've built F1 cars that can't race there, then you've failed at building a specification of F1 cars that matches the sport. It would be a huge shame to lose that race from the calendar. And likewise, I think this is true for Grade 1 specification. Yes, you should try and build circuits that are safe, but if Monaco, Monza and Silverstone and Interlagos and circuits like this no longer fit Grade 1 specification, you have failed at making a Formula 1 grade circuit specification. These are Grand Prix tracks, and you need to be able to race them. Monaco is a challenge like none other. It is driver and machine against circuit for 78 laps. There is no other test of skill of an F1 driver, of an F1 team, quite like it. And surely that's what an F1 calendar should be. 23-ish unique challenges for the drivers and the teams to face, so that they build a car that works at all of them, so that they can drive all of them. Being the best at Monaco is considered so special because A, of its history, of course, but also because of just how big of a challenge it is. If F1 can no longer race at Monaco, is it really Formula 1 anymore? I think no, but that is, of course, just my opinion. What do you think? Tell me down in the comments below or over on the brand new Discord server. Like the video if you liked it, share it if you think anyone else might as well. Thank you all so very much for watching. I will see you next week. Sorry, there's only one video a week at this point. I'm just finishing up uni, so we should be back to more regular videos after that.